At some point in 2023, I had issued over $350,000 worth of refund. God has always taken care of me, and he's always showed up and worked miracles in one way, shape, or another. And even though it really, really hurts to do this, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Founder Fires. Now, today, what I want to dive into is the concept of the divine flywheel and why it is really, really important to be somebody who is generous. Now, I have taken that to the natural extreme and experienced what it's like to be generous and still be taken advantage of, and having to do the work internally to fight to remain a generous human being. For me, I wholeheartedly believe that I need to give freely so I can freely receive blessings from God. Trying to adapt this and maintain this principle inside of business, it's no easy thing to do. Because in business, I really believe reputation and relationships are greater than revenue. Because if I can build a really good reputation and have really great relationships, I wholeheartedly believe revenue is going to follow every single time if I do things right. Now, in order to have a really good reputation and have really good relationships, you need to be somebody who's generous, right? And I try to give freely so I can freely receive from God. And it's so that when God gives me a blessing, I don't need to be like, oh, I need to worry about paying this back. It's like, no. I know God is just blessing me because he wants to give to me. And because I actively try to give to others in one way or form, in one shape or another, God is going to continue to actively try and give to me. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I was at an event this last week. It was a great event. And I got to talk to a couple people in that room who've heard about Charlie from somebody else who had used Charlie in the early days, and it didn't work for them. The product didn't work for them. Back in 2023, the product is awful. Looking at it now, I'm completely embarrassed at the fact that we went to market with that version of the product, but it was launched out of desperation. I was in the middle of a lawsuit and I couldn't do anything to drive revenue the way that I normally would. And so we had the MVP for this product ready to go. And so we just launched it and saw who needed it. And so a lot of people wanted to start using it, but it wasn't very good. It was rough. It wasn't good. And we took care of the people that signed up and they couldn't get results with it. I refunded them, right? At some point in 2023, I had issued over $350,000 worth of refund. And that was money the business didn't have. So I had to refund people that didn't get good results with the product out of my own pocket. And that hurt. It hurt so bad. Like, talk about staring into the abyss. I'm like, man, I don't know how we're going to make it. But for me, I was like, I just know at some point, God has always taken care of me, and he's always showed up and worked miracles in one way, shape, or another. And even though it really, really hurts to do this, our reputation, and our relationship, I mean, I'd want to do whatever I can to honor God in the best way possible in business. So I ended up issuing a bunch of people refunds, and it sucked. But I did everything I could to do it with a good attitude. So I jumped on a call with them, like, I just want to apologize that we couldn't get the product to work for you the way that it needed. Here's all your money back. And I appreciate you giving this a good go. We're just not at a point where, for whatever reason, like, we just can't get it to work for your business right now. And there was a couple of different people in the room at the event that I was at this last week who knew someone who had used the product when it wasn't good. And because of the way that we took care of them, they're like, man, you need to give them a good try, because clearly the product has completely transformed since then. but I know for a fact, like if it doesn't work for you, like they're going to take care of you. Like I could tell you that much. And these were people that had to cancel and refund. And it was crazy to see that a few of them ended up coming back. But it was so surreal when some random person, I was getting ready to leave the event, some random person pulled me aside and was like, dude, thank you so much for your presentation. I just want to let you know, like, I talked to this guy and he said like had nothing but good things to say about you. And he said that despite the fact that the product didn't work for him at the time, he's like, you're an outstanding human being and your team operates with a high level of integrity. And he said, that's all I needed to hear. All right. And for me, I was like, wow, like it was so surreal hearing that and be like, the generous deposit that was given 2 years ago is starting to come. Like I'm seeing God use those situations and it's starting to come back several times over. And it was just humbling. It was truly, truly humbling because I remembered how hard that was and how much I had to pray. I was like, you know what, God, like I'm going to do this because it's just the right thing to do. There's too many people out there who are not willing to stand by their word, who say that if it doesn't work, they're going to make sure you're taken care of, who try and come up with excuses to get out of it. And I was like, you know what, I want no parts of that. And if it means that we go out of business, it means we go out of business. And God has continued to work one miracle after another, after another, after another. And I really believe it's because of this concept of the divine flywheel that, where I give freely so I can freely receive from God. And the more that I give freely, right, the more I'm able to freely receive, which increases my capacity to give. And that also in turn increases the capacity for me to receive. And this flywheel continues to turn and to turn and to turn. And so if you're building a business and you're staring into the abyss and you just don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, always err on the side of doing what's right. Err on the side of doing what's going to be in the best interest of the people that you want to serve. Err on the side of doing what's going to be aligned with your core values and what's going to allow you to look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you. All right. Always err on the side of being generous and giving and doing what's ultimately going to benefit your reputation and that relationship long term. In a lot of those cases where we issued refunds, the client honestly wasn't entitled to it. They had done a lot of things on their side to hinder the product from working, and they weren't willing to do things to make it work. And it was at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? It's not going to work. And the worst thing that I can do is to kill this engagement. You'd given us your money and you'd given us some of your time, and to kill this engagement with this, and you have nothing to show for it. So I just wanted to jump on and share that and just encourage you that if you're going through a hard time in your business and that hard time is continuing because you're doing things the right way, do not lose heart. Do not get discouraged. Continue operating with integrity, because I promise you, God is going to repay it back tenfold. And when I think about how God has repaid me back and given me blessings in different ways, it's not always been monetary. It's been through doors opening. It's been through relationship fostering. It's been through networking. It's been through getting information. It's been through proximity. There's so many different ways that God has continued to show me how generous he is as I continue trying to just be generous to others. I try to outgive the Lord, and he continues to be like, nope, not this time. And I'm like, all right, you just increase the bar. Now I'm going to try and increase it a little bit. And we're playing this game where I'm like, when the opportunity presents itself for me to be generous, even when it hurts, I'm going to do so. And case in point, like there's been a recent situation where I'm having to exercise a high degree of generosity where there's a partnership and I've given capital to this venture and I've given a good amount of time up to this venture. And then now I'm being bought out at a disgusting discount, and I'm okay with that. All right. Cause at the end of the day, for me, I'm looking at it as another opportunity for me to be generous and to give freely so I can freely receive from God. And at the end of the day, I don't know how God is going to return it back to me or give to me. I just know it's going to be better and greater than what I have given to others. And so the cycle is going to continue. So that's just a little game that I like to play with me and God. And it's also helped me in business, because it's helped me make really, really tough decisions, really tough financial decisions that if I was purely focused on the bottom line, I wouldn't have made those decisions. But those decisions, I can trace back massive payoff and massive leveling up in our business and in our different opportunities and networks and things like that as a result of this generous gesture that I made, despite the fact that it hurt me to my core, right? The fact that there was real things on the line when I made the decision to be generous in this way. And I'm just grateful. So just want to share that. It's just one of those things where it's just like when the cards are stacked against you and you just have little, and you feel like everything is falling apart and you don't know what to do. That is the opportunity where you have the chance to be your most generous when you're giving out of, when you give and it hurts. When you're generous in those moments and you feel the sting of that generosity a little bit more, that's actually when you are the most generous. And it doesn't matter what the monetary amount is in that gesture. It's where your heart is how big of a sacrifice was that to you in that moment. And God, I've just not experienced a single time when God has not given back to me in excess of that sacrifice. So just want to share that. Hope you found it helpful. Till next time, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Peace.